And then my best friend, we have been best friends about 9 years at that point, platonically. And he had a girlfriend for a while, like a long-term joint. And she always was like, y'all doing something, or I just don't like how close y'all are. Like we were super close. I can be honest and be like, and I understand how she was uncomfortable. But nothing was going on. But then they broke up eventually over some other things. And we had gotten to a point of like, well,
what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so happy you came by. The Queerly Blax Show aims to normalize the everyday existence of Black, LGBTQIA+ individuals through an interview-style series with regular folks like you and me. So every week, a new guest shares their story and unique perspective on their existence as an LGBTQIA+ individual. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe, download, set your reminders to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'm joined today by a fellow HU alum, Q. You know? What up, Q? Hey, tell the people about yourself.
Well, currently I can only be present. Let's start there. So right now, I am on Earth. I am in Los Angeles, California. Just moved back last week from New Zealand. I've been in New Zealand 4.5 years with my partner. I'm now here in law school. I just finished my first week. Brother is tired.
I'm sure, man. Law school.
So I'm glad to be sitting here kicking it with you because I need some reprieve. All right.
Yeah.
So that is what is currently going on, and releasing music. My single is out. Rolling out music and the album and that whole thing. I have a performance next Saturday here in LA, so I'll be sure to get the details about that at some point in the show. So just doing a lot, doing the most, a little bit too much.
It's the only way to do it, man.
It's
the only way to do it. Dope, man. Well, look, so we're gonna jump right in. We gonna dive right in. When was your first encounter with your sexuality?
Oh.
The first time you seen a boy and was like,
okay. So let's do this. So because my story is I'm bi, and I didn't grow up being attracted to men. That came later. So I was on women in the beginning of my sexuality journey, but my first time like kind of inkling with the guy. So my things were kind of accidental. It's always weird when I tell this. So I got to Howard and I was studying fine arts. I was studying acting. And then I remember like my dad, a little homophobic a little bit. And at the time, I was 17 going to Howard, and he was like, I support you, studying acting, but I heard a lot of the professors and a lot of the students and stuff is gay in there. So just watch your back. I remember that talk, having that talk, going like to the first day of school or whatever. But when I was like, oh, Dad, I'm not tripping off that. I'm not really, because at the time, like I didn't really have. So I grew up in Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. And Michigan, Midwest in general is like behind the time. So like on everything, like politically, fashion, music, like the internet has kind of sped that up for us, but as a whole, we're a little bit slower on the uptake. So we have outdated mentalities and just not up on the diversity of different walks of life, especially when I was coming to school back in like 2006. So back then, like gay stuff, I didn't really know much about any of that. So I was like, Dad, what? All right, cool, you tripping. It ain't gonna be deep. So anyway, long story short, got to Howard, and I had a couple of people approach me, and I had never had that before, and so I was like, no, I'm good on that. That's okay. But I was never like angry, or I was always that person that was like, I'm respectful of everybody, whatever. But then, so what happened? How real can we get? So I was a virgin, right? I was doing the whole like wait until marriage thing. And so I wasn't really trying to do anything with anybody, but myself. So I did find, like I had senior year, I had a friend of mine and we would masturbate together, like just mutually masturbate and just hang out. So that's kind of like my first, but it wasn't like, ooh, it just, I don't remember how we started it, but we just knew we
dudes
both
do that.
They do.
That's like a straight men will just sit there together and just.
I've definitely done it with some of my straight
jerk
bros.
off.
Yeah. It's a like you ever. There's like a whole theory of like homoeroticism between straight men. Like there's just they hold their male friends to a higher regard than like their girlfriends or their wives. Like they want to impress them. They want to, connect with them. They share their secrets with them. Versus it's a little bit harder for them to do it with their partners of the opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole thing. But it has nothing to do. It doesn't have to mean
that you're gay.
That you're gay.
It's the same way, like, I mean, best friends, like female best friends, they kind of like sit on each other's lap. They kind of have this intimacy about themselves that like
we just don't talk about it out loud because it looks gay.
Yeah.
I mean, it all is gay, but then women get away with it more readily than we do. Yeah. But definitely happens.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's how that went. But so we were doing that, and it was like you do you, I do me, but we're just in the same room. And then one day, he just went for it and started sucking me off. And so I was like, "Oh, this is new." And it was going on. I was like, "Well, I'm gonna just let it rock. Fuck it. It's college. I'm about to graduate. I've never done this before. Let's see where it goes." And then after, it wasn't like an immediate, "Oh my God, this new world of gaydom," and I just want to. It wasn't like that. I was like, "Oh, okay." And it took like another like 10 years of.
It's like level two of our masturbation session. No big deal.
Yeah, and so it wasn't like a switch turned on. I was like, "Oh my God, I've been missing this my whole life." But But that was kind of the start to like allowing things to be investigated.
Yeah, open it, like the being more open to
whatever
interactions with men as well.
Men. Yeah. And then it just kind of went slowly for a while until. Yeah.
So before that, you had girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like non-sexual girlfriends because you were a virgin.
I was a virgin. Yeah.
Did you at any point have any inkling that you might be interested in guys then?
No. No. The girls I liked. Listen.
Yeah.
We don't have time for the epic stories of the lengths I go to for anyone I like, but the girls I liked, I was stuck. You understand? Like in love. You know what I mean?
I watch. I don't know if you've seen Carisha Please, right? But when
I've seen the preview and watched it.
She was like, "I hang on the wing for that D." At the airplane, she was like, "I'm on the wing, like let's go." With the D at, I'm there, like let's get it.
I'm very, especially as a teenager in my early 20s. I was like, I'm the romantic for like, if I'm gonna figure out what you like, and I'm doing that, or I'm going above and beyond it. Like I was that guy. Yeah. The parents love me. But yeah, the girls I was after, that was real. It was on. Yeah. So like, then even to this day, I still feel some way about them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they're still very great people.
Yeah. So then you have this sexual interaction with your roommate or your friend, and you were like, "Oh, okay, like I like this," right? Well, and the reason why well, I'll let you say how that experience, how you felt about that experience.
Well, it wasn't that I liked it. It was that it wasn't bad, or it felt almost like it wasn't a big deal about, it didn't mean anything. Yeah. Which almost was a little more empowering than I liked it. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, well, I can do whatever. Yeah. And it don't have to mean anything. So that was kind of more of the, like, if I want to, I want to. If I don't, I don't. And I kind of rolled like that for like 10 years of like, sometimes I'm with it, sometimes I'm not. Like, and I just kind of lived in whatever the moment provided. Like me and that friend never did that again. Mm-hmm. We continued like our little bake sessions or whatever, but it never went past, like we just kind of reverted. Like, that's not us. Like, so it wasn't that, this became our thing. Like, no, I didn't even do that. So I always tell that way because people think sexuality is so linear. Like, you're just from A to B, but it's just kind of like you're in a pot and you just grabbing whatever ingredients come and whatever you want and leaving the rest. It might be all around, but you're not indulging in it all the time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So after that, did you date guys?
No, I didn't date anybody. Me, I'm my dating record is weird, man. Like, with the women, something will always happen on their end. Like somebody would die, or they would have like some traumatic experience that they want to go on for. Like, it was something so extreme.
Yeah.
And then with guys, I never imagined myself dating. So anything that happened with a guy, it was always like fleeting, or it was never serious about much of anything. And I wasn't having sex with them either.
Yeah.
And it was just like little flirtations here, or maybe some cuddling, and maybe a little messing around. And I was busy. Like, I left Howard, I went to grad school, I moved out here to LA from DC in 2010, and I really didn't have much time. So, and then for a while I thought I was asexual, because I wasn't really tripping off being with anybody for like a long time. I was like, I think I want to just be me for a minute. Yeah, I was kind of enjoying myself for a while. And after like 8 years or so, I was like, you ain't dated nobody and haven't been interested in doing it. So for a while, I thought I was the A of the LGBTQIA. And then my best friend, we have been best friends about 9 years at that point, platonically. And he had a girlfriend for a while, like a long-term joint. And she always was like, y'all doing something, or I just don't like how close y'all are. Like, we were super close. I can be honest and be like, and I understand how she was uncomfortable, but nothing was going on. But then they broke up eventually over some other things. And we had gotten to a point of like, well, you want to investigate something? Like, and at this point, I was like, well, I'm tired of being a virgin. I want to lose my virginity. I want to have sex. And I was like, I want to do with somebody I trust. I had a whole thing. Looking back on it, I had these ideals about what I wanted sex to be about and what it was. And not that, I was a little naive about it. I think I would have done it a little bit differently. Looking, like, it's not as lofty and flighty as I was making it at the time. But at the time, I was like, somebody I know, somebody I trust. And we talked it out for like 8 months or so, because it was like, we're best friends. I was like, I think because we're best friends, it'll be fine.
Yeah. But there's still that reservation of like, if we cross that line, we can't go back.
Back, right. And so after about 8 months of discussing it, we went for it. And it was just kind of like it was like, what do you want to try? And I was like, I want to try this. Okay, how'd you like it? I liked it. Can I do it again? Yeah. And we just kind of like, that was the energy of the whole session. And it was like, you want to try this? Okay, cool, bet. And then after we finished that first like initial session, we just kind of were like, we're laughing and shit. We're figuring it out. Like, it was just, it felt like an extension of the friendship. Like, the energy was the same. And so it was funny. It was goofy. Of course, it was sexy. People, we did what we did. And then it was like, oh, is this a thing? You know what I'm saying? So then it just kind of was like, well, fuck. We didn't know we had that. Here we go. I'm like, you want to date, man? And then it was like, I mean, okay. Like, we just kind of stumbled upon this new level of our relationship. And then we've been dating for 5 years now.
Nice.
And we're engaged. So like, I'm dating my best friend.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And it still feels like I'm dating. Sometimes I forget we're dating. Like, I think I want everybody to date their best friend. Honestly, like, I think that has made a world of difference versus courting someone. Like, you see somebody attractive, you courting them, you talking, the talk phase, you dating them. That path is different, which is fine. That's a lot of people's. That's just how we usually do it. But like, if you could be friends, I was friends with this man almost a decade, so I knew his family, I knew all his stuff. Like, I don't know, something about it, and even now that we're in it, it's still my best friend. We still like to hang out and do that. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes I have to remind myself, like, oh, I'm attached to you in a different way. You know what I mean? But it's really lit. It's lit.
Yeah, no, I mean, me and my wife are, we both went to Howard, and we've been together for going on 14 years. And
it's, but y'all different. Women are different. The lesbian community, yes. Y'all let your heart, y'all loyalty things be, y'all have that goal in mind all the time. Like, y'all are known for life.
Yeah, men are definitely different about that. It's a different experience for men, but I think to have a healthy, happy relationship for that long, there's like level, like there's like notches, like there's levels for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be able to dig into some really deep and hard conversations and come out of them and be better not the same, better.
Better.
You know, you got to dig into some ugly places to get that far, and then to still have to have a healthy relationship, that you still laugh, that you still enjoy each other's company, that you know what I'm saying, like, this is my dog, you know what I'm saying, like, I still want to hang out with you, like, I'm not trying to, like, Saturday,
people don't want to
Friday, Saturday night,
people.
like Friday, Saturday night, I want to hang out with you, like, we hanging out, like, what we doing
people
tonight?
Think that's weird,
you know,
though.
no, like, what? I mean, don't get me wrong, my friends are cool, like, I love my friends, they're dope, but because, and I think you probably identify with the fact that, like, when you're busy, like when you're working and you have aspirations and you know are doing other things, your time is very limited, you know what I mean? Like, so when I have time, you kind of go down the priority list. You're like, okay, you got your errands, and then you got like, but like, if I have time, like, I want to spend it with you. You know what I'm saying? An hour during the week, 2 hours during the week, watching TV or whatever, catching up, like making sure we check in. That's cute, but like quality time of like, we're chilling, we're hanging out, like we vibing, we still laugh together. I know like what's going on with you for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a vibe.
Like, right, exactly. It's dope. And so I hear, when I hear people and they're like trying to escape their partners, gay, straight, or otherwise, like, why be with somebody you just want to pay bills with them? And that's
I mean, you know, people get in relationships for different things, and I think when it's more natural, like, I think what you experienced and what I experienced, of just like this person that you already had this connection with, and then you guys kind of it just goes where it goes. You generally like them because you chose to be with them because of the person. Like, if you're choosing to be a friend with somebody, it's because we have a commonality, like we have a trust, we have we're cool. When you're dating people, a lot of times people are, first of all, they're seeing the representative, like it's not the real person, first of all, and then it's like, I'm specifically looking for something, right? Like, I'm looking for a person who's family oriented, but they could be an asshole. I'm looking for a person who's, takes care of their bills, or is financially responsible, but they could also be cheap. I'm looking for a person so like, on the other side of the quality that you're looking for could be something else. But if you and I connected on just a friend level, right, there might be other things that come out. Like, I might not know that as your friend, I might not know that you don't pay your bills on time.
Right.
As your friend, I might not know that you, when it comes to, sharing responsibility, that you don't really want to do anything. There are certain intimacies that you find out, but I think as far as the core, the foundation of the person, you know what that is because we were friends first, so I think that's where like the little bit of when you realize, like, I don't really actually like you. I mean, I like these qualities about you, but I don't like you as a person.
Right.
That's
right.
I see it all the time. I'm like, damn, you really don't like your person.
It's not a goal. I'm like, why do you want to like them? It's weird. Yeah. I mean, they might be sexy and cute, but then like, you need to like them.
You should. I mean, because you spend a lot of time together. Like, I always be thinking about like, well, shit, when you go on vacation, because vacation is like a really intense living situation. And if you're like in your house or whatever, your natural habitat, you go do your thing, they go do their thing, then you're on vacation. It's like, y'all together. Like, what does that look like? You eat every meal together, you sleep you're in the same space for the most part, like the entire time.
Right. And you gotta,
how does that work?
You gotta, yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. Not my life, but I hope that, people aspire to like get to learn and like the people that they're with. But I also think that people kind of put other people around them that they like, that can like subsidize like whatever they're not getting from their person.
And that's not, like, you should just like everybody. Why is anybody in your life that you don't like? In your intimate circles.
Yeah, for different reasons. Black people, we have a lot of different and white people too, because they, honestly, it's some similar stuff. But we come from poor backgrounds. A lot of times we come from, some trauma that drives us to want to aspire to be with a certain type of person, right? So if you came from low income and your parents weren't together, you're like, I want to be with somebody who's financially secure and like, wants a family and this whole picture. But and you find that, and this person really does provide, really does take care of you, really does hold it down. but they are like a nightmare to be around. Like you fucking can't stand them. So it's just like, well, where does, you know what I mean? Like, where's the boundary? Like, where's the like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but like, I really actually don't want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Yeah, that's a sad one. That's a hard one.
Yeah. So our upbringing definitely has a lot to do with who we choose.
Yeah. So it definitely influences for sure.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so yeah, very interesting coming out story. Very interesting coming to be story. But I think it's probably a very common story. I think people probably have maybe not having their best friend be the person that they ultimately end up with, but I think that journey in between is probably very common. Like I think a lot of people.
And I mean, I've navigated a lot of gray spaces with people. A lot of people live in the gray more than they like to admit.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Which it's scary for some people, and it's a risk, you know, for the job or for your family. You know, even like the actual coming out part, I didn't feel like a coming out. I mean, I was always me. Like whatever you needed to know at the time is what you know. A lot of people were like, "Well, you never told me." I'm like, I told you when it was like when it mattered. You know, like when I knew what it was or what it wasn't. Then you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like I was hiding something or keeping secrets. It was just that. I'm not telling you about every Tom, Dick, and Harry I happen to go visit. I wouldn't tell you that like even now that everybody knows that I'm dating. Like it's not. I've always been like that. Even when I had girlfriends, it was like you didn't know every step of the way. So, but I remember I was drunk. It was the middle of the summer, it was 2017, and I just ran down the list. I just called my mom, my daddy, my aunties, this is what's going on. I'm dating Donovan. Because they already knew him. We've been to each other's house. Our families know, like. And they were like, "What is going on?" And then I just kind of was like, "That's what's happening." So, I'll talk to you later. You know what I mean? Like, And it was shocking to some of the people, but I just kind of like, it's another day.
I'm really not asking you to have any questions. I'm just informing you. I just want to inform you.
Like, I'm with this person. Yeah, like so, and I, so you know, and I try to explain like. It wasn't like I was looking for that. I'm like, I'm really attached to the person. You know what I mean? I don't really know. I'd have this running joke with my fiance that if this doesn't work out, I don't think I'd date another man. Like, men don't slap like that. Like, I feel like you could agree. I feel like, men are hard.
I was hardwired to like women. I never.
Men are difficult, man. Like, and not necessarily saying my man in general, but just how we're raised, how we're socially conditioned. It's hard dating us. Whoever just chooses to date men, you know, it's a tough road because there's a lot of things to unlearn. There's a lot of things to unpack, and the man has to be willing to unlearn and unpack all that shit with you. Or with himself, really, because that's a lot to put on another person. And they don't be knowing that it's burdensome sometimes to be expecting somebody to receive all this manhood stuff we've been taught.
Yeah.
And whatever trauma you cut, like Black men in particular are really tough ones to be vulnerable in a healthy way. You know what I mean? We're not taught, that's not a goal of our existence. Nobody's teaching us how to curate our feelings and share them with people and share them with a partner and be open and you know what I mean? That's not part of our upbringing.
No, it's not. And I think you hit it right on the head. Like, we're not men, Black people in general, I think, because Black women suffer from a lot of the same things, right? But it doesn't look the same because when a Black woman is emotional or dealing with like the challenges of her life, she usually it translates itself into her being just like a B word, right? Like if she's standing up for herself or if she's being affirmative about her experience, whatever it is, big, small, or indifferent, when it comes out too loud or too high or too sharp, oh, she's angry Black woman, right? And I think that for a man, it's just not even welcomed to like, I feel this feel. Like, why is that word even in your vocabulary? Why is an emotion even like associated with you as a man, right? Because that's not socially, that's not there's no room for a man and a woman to be emotional. It's as if there's no space for both of them to exist, but it's like, that's not true.
They and I honestly anger and frustration, like the aggressive joints, but like tenderness, or it's about like insecurity, or it's about fear. it's a bit hard for people to allow that safe space for men to really be vulnerable in that way. And then also for us to not want to feel like, oh, I'm losing my position of protective provider or leader or whatever other things are, all that stuff.
Like, even for a man to be like, oh, like, small example, like a job interview, right? Like, men have job interviews just like women do. Women will be like, oh girl, yeah, I got this interview, I'm so nervous, this and the third. A man can't be like, girl, like, man, like, I got this interview tomorrow, like, I'm so nervous. He gotta be like, yeah, I'm about to kill it, and he could be nervous, he could be anxious, he could be like, I'm not sure, like, about this question or this, or how they're gonna receive me, like, I'm a big Black man, or I don't know what that looks like in this environment. It's just not welcomed, or
not in general.
It's not generally the norm that we see, and I think that people should do that more. I mean, I love what Black men represent. I love the women that love our Black men. And I just wish that there was more space, because I do feel like a big part of, and then I'll get off of this, but I do feel like that's a big part of the reason why Black women get angry when they see a Black man with someone of another race, right? Is because there's capacity, I think, with them for a man to be whoever he is, and I think a Black woman is like, it's like we're battling with trauma, like we're trading traumas. It's like, well, you got that experience, well, what about? And it's like, well, but today it's got to be about me. Today's got to be my day to be vulnerable, and then tomorrow we can talk about your vulnerability, but that space doesn't really exist in our community.
That's layered. That's so there's a lot of things going on with, like, I mean, I won't rag on interracial dating or anything. They're not the only like outcome of any of that, but I'm not sure. I've never dated interracially, but not that I'm opposed to it. It's just never happened that way for me. But so I can't be sure about everyone's reasons about why they do that. But hopefully it's love, But we just talked about
absolutely,
right. But we just talked about how people be not liking the people, so I'm sure that happens there too. But I think, I will say, I think a big chunk of it is not teaching men emotional intelligence. How would you expect them to be amazing partners to anyone, male or female or in between, that, you know what I mean? They don't know how, except the way that they, with their parents or whoever, they learned it from their coaches, whatever, teachers. And but I just know, as a general whole, as a society, we do not have like a standard. I think it's very subpar. The bar is low about emotional intelligence for Black men.
Absolutely.
Whether we require it or give it to them. And therefore they go out to the world, we go out to the world, bumping into people and causing all kinds of traumas and chaos, because we're not aware of ourselves and aware of how we need to be for the people that we say we love,
Yeah, absolutely.
So all that to say, men are hard. They don't slap like that. Like, they do not come out the box. Women be coming out the box like 90% where you need to be to make something go down. Like, it's not like y'all be known, y'all have vision, y'all have heart, y'all have loyalty, y'all like,
that is I mean, it's more true for women, but
I know that there's things depending on whatever the journey has been, but I know, like, there's some women in my life that I'm looking at them bump into these men. And I'm like, the men don't be ready to receive all of the, like, women really be coming like as a whole package. There may be some things that, of course we're human, but women to men, like, having it together as far as like their total self, if you were to treat her right, like, that would just evolve into something better and better and better. Like, I think women are like prepackaged to be like, just add water and it would just elevate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might need to nourish it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Which is what, but the men don't be, you can water that thing, give it some fertilizer, you can give it some sunshine, and it's gonna be stubborn. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those,
absolutely.
Because it just didn't have the soil, the foundation to be grow healthily in that way, So I don't even know what the point of that was. We talk about sexuality and stuff.
That's because it's so deep. Like, it really is a super complicated and complex topic, because it just, I mean, even like, you know, I was talking to somebody earlier just about, you know, even, you know, walking through the world and your experience, right? Like gender norms and, you know, all the things that are associated with sexuality or whoever you're engaging with at the moment. Like, you don't know what lens they're seeing you through. Like, you have no idea what is behind that person that would make them view you however it is that they're experiencing you, you know? And so to your point about just bumping into people in general, you just don't know who people are, you know? And I think that it's more true that men have more that they still have like that they can't express or can't fix because of how they have to show up in the world.
Exactly. Which is crazy. Like I've been in New Zealand for 4.5 years.
Yeah, I was actually just about to talk to you about that, so we can go there.
So my partner, he's been living over there almost 10 years. So for a while we were long distance best friends. I mean, most of my best friends are long distance at this point, which sucks. But he was one of them, and you know, I ended up going over there to be with him for a while and acting, and so like my career was really great, and best decision ever to move over there. But over there, it's different. Like, you know, people are not tripping about gay. Can we cuss on here?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay. They're not tripping on
as long as it's not like super, you know, as long as it's not super crazy, you just, you know, throw one or two in there every now and then, you straight.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, they're not tripping on gay shit. Like, it's just kind of like, okay, like that should be like you doing you, and nobody's harassing you, nobody's treating you, looking at you funny. And so we were able to exist a bit differently, even as Black men. I tell people this all the time. Like, there were a lot of things I didn't know that we wear, like this guard, this armor that we carry around in the U.S. Like, you know, even with like getting stopped by the police, there's protocols for that for Black men. Like, hands on the wheel, no sudden moves, be polite, do everything they say, don't run, like all these things that you got to be hyper aware about for your life.
Yeah. And
you know, all of that I learned. Like, the police don't carry guns on them. They put the guns in the trunk. They're taught to de-escalate. They're taught to serve. Like, there's a whole different context that I learned to live in. Like, oh, I can release some of that apprehension. I can kind of breathe different. And it was just, there was freedom that I had never experienced in that way. I could let go of some of the lenses the filters that I have to have when I'm here, you know? Yeah. So to the point of like how people receiving you, like, you can be who you are in that place. They're so out of the way of the world. They're not tainted by a lot of the world views because they're out of the way of them for the most part. And they're just kind of like friendly, like, hey man, as long as you don't, whatever floats your boat doesn't sink my battleship kind of thing. So I've tried to live in that here. I mean, we haven't been together here. He still has to do another year in New Zealand, which sucks as well. COVID kind of messed up our schedules with that. So I'm starting school now, but he'll be finishing school over there and coming to LA in a year. So in a year's time, we will be for the first time, like as a couple living in the States. We've never done that. So like with our families, with our friends and stuff like that. So they've only seen it on social media, which is weird. So a lot of my progression in my presence as a queer person and just that whole thing has happened for people on a screen, which was really strange to watch unfold. I just came back home to visit. Like, before I settled in LA, I went home to Michigan to see family and stuff like that because I hadn't seen them since before the pandemic happened. And, you know, a lot has changed. Like, you know, me having a male partner and me I've been in commercials now. They see me on TV all the time, and I have a movie coming out, and I got music. Like, there's so much that they've seen via their devices, and they haven't seen me, the person. And so I know that they were feeling a little bit out of the loop of my life. Like, the people who I was raised by a village, like all my aunties, uncles, cousins, great grandma, like everybody raised me. So everybody is feeling like this little boy who we all had a hand in raising. We don't know him. But then I went home, and I think they had this moment of like, oh, he's the same dude. Like, we see all the stuff that we're not quite understanding, or we didn't know what's going on. You know, but in my face, I think I could see them registering like, oh, it's
still our boy. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't know what they had made up in their head about what they were seeing online, but you could tell it was different. They were reconciling those two things to meet what was actually real. Yeah. And I think we needed that time for me to be in their face to really give them the real person versus whatever they think my online persona is giving them.
Yeah. Talk about your career. So you left Howard, went into the arts, and now.
Well, it not that law school. It wasn't that linear. Let's see. So I studied acting at Howard, then moved to LA to go to California Institute of the Arts. So I went straight to grad school. I studied producing for theater and film, and then got out of school in 2013 and moved into the city. And none of them arts jobs was ready. Like, it just wasn't happening. Okay, so I did the whole thing. I watched Insecure and I laugh a lot because it's like I worked at Enterprise. It's like, dang, did everybody work at Enterprise? To sustain themselves. It was a good job or whatever until it wasn't. AAA, and then I got into property management. That's why I was like, Insecure was telling my life. And so I was doing property management, which was fine, free apartment and a little bit of cash and in decent parts of the city. But then I started to hate it, man. The people were awful. The management, the company I worked for, and the tenants. Everybody was awful people. And I got this opportunity. I went to visit my then best friend over there at the time to New Zealand, and was like, yeah, I'll come and visit. And I had a couple meetings with some agents, and it was so easy. Like, I sent a headshot resume, and they were like, yeah, we'll have a meeting. You can never do that in LA. Like, somebody I feel like Beyonce or like a Michael B. Jordan gotta recommend you to get an agent around here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't happen here. So I had meetings and they were like, yeah, cool. Like, I signed with the top agency in New Zealand, and I was like, cool, well, give me 6 months to wrap up LA and then I'll come. And so I came back to LA to finish up because I just got promoted. I was taking over buildings. I was supposed to like fill it up, renovate it, blah, blah, blah. And then like a month later, they called from New Zealand saying that there was a show and I should, whatever, but they would need me by the next week. And I was like, I told you 6 months. It's been one, And so, long story short, did it. They wanted me. I ended up having to quit my job, move out of my place, throw stuff in storage within like 48 hours. And so, hopped the flight.
Opportunity calls.
Went and last minute flew my ass over there, and best decision ever. Like, it was chaotic, it was hectic, it was crazy, and it was scary. But yeah, ever since then, doing many commercials over and a lot of US stuff shoots over there. So I've had like 4 or 5 US commercials. 3 of them are running right now, and been on some TV stuff, Apple TV, some Amazon Prime, and got a movie coming out in July on Amazon Prime, some Netflix stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, things were popping, and I have no regrets about leaving and going, and experiencing a different country in a different part of the world.
Yeah, that's dope. So would you ever have considered just living there forever?
What I would like to happen is for it to be an alternate home, because the seasons are opposite. So like, it's summer here right now, it's winter over there. So like, if I could do like an off on and just chase summer year round, that would be cool. Like, we're both permanent residents, so I can go back anytime. So I can forever. Ain't no Black people there. That was one of my main issues. I mean, there are Black people there. Like, there's a pretty substantial Caribbean community and African community, folks from the continent. But African Americans, I can pretty much count on one hand, probably. And so the community's small, and not to say that the other Black folks there are not great people. It's just they gatekeep really hard. Yeah. I tried to go to Caribbean parties and get in, and they were like, nah. Like, you paid your ticket, so you here, but that's about as far as it's gonna go. Yeah. So that's a bit hard. But so community, it's hard to build a community of likeness, So when you don't see yourself reflected in a place, for me, that gets old.
Yeah, because you can't build community. Nice. You can't build familiarity and community because you're number one, the people don't look like you, but then number two, you're not even welcomed by the people that are there. Talk about your so you have an upcoming album, right?
I do.
Talk about the project.
So The single is out. It's called Tell Me. It's available on Tidal, Apple, Spotify, everywhere, Amazon. And the video is out on YouTube. And it's being received well. I think the people who hear it love it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to get more people to listen. You know what I'm saying? That's always the name of the game. Music is hard as far as like not creating, but getting people to care. But I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy about that song in particular. It was one of the newer ones I wrote for the album. And it was my first time saying like boy or mentioning like a guy specifically on a record. And that was a big moment. It's like, yeah, I've been dating this man for 5.5 years. I'm very out and proud and all that stuff. But growing up, like you just didn't hear it. Like granted, we have like the Lil Nas X now. But he's like the only one. You know, like and so I think there's a power and there's a level of subversion when you decide to say, no, I'm saying this. You know what I mean? This way. You know, Sam Smith came out and it was always like a neutral pronoun. So it could be about anybody, you know, and that's how a lot of people played it. That's how Luther Vandross played it. Well, no, he was singing the women, but sometimes it was those neutral pronouns, you know, just to make it general. But so Tell Me, I'm really proud of. It's fun. It's very gay, but I think everybody can enjoy it though. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want people to feel like, oh, that's for the gays and I'm gonna leave that to them. Because I think that's how people receive gay artists or anything that is specifically highlighting gayness or queerness. And I've been watching how it's been translating to like, and not that it's about the straights. It's not, I mean, I don't want anybody to get like, nah, it's just, you know, our space and our space. Like, no, but I want my music to be for everybody though. Yeah. Like, I want us to get to the point where, yes, just because it's saying a guy to a guy, the sentiment is real.
Yeah. Well, it's just like we gotta listen to we love, you know, heterosexual music. You substitute what you gotta substitute, or you make the song feel like you gotta make it feel to yourself.
Whatever, or you just enjoy it for what it is. Like music is something that you can share in somebody's lived experience and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like that's what music is. So I don't want it to have to be like you gotta be gay to listen to this, or you should be gay to listen to this. It's like, or you listen to this, you gay. Like no, it's like you could be, but also it's a great fucking song, and it's about falling in love with your best friend. Yeah, I feel like people can relate to that, you know. So all that's the single, but yes, all part of an album called Spectrum, and I named it Spectrum because I have many different genres on there, spectrum of genres. It's about the spectrum of love, falling in love, being afraid of love, falling out of love, loving yourself, and it's just about the spectrum of sexuality. I'm talking about guys, I'm talking about girls. I'm on the spectrum. So that's the project. Yeah. Sorry. The second single I'm thinking about releasing in September. I'm gonna run with Tell Me for a while. It's Pride Month. It's pretty on time. And then the second single, September. And then I'm thinking the album's gonna come late fall, winter, right before the holidays. Nice. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, your next break from school.
Exactly. I did all of this kind of what do you call it? Marketing and promo campaigning, all this content. I filmed it in New Zealand before I left because I knew I wasn't gonna have any time. And after the first week, that turned out to be very, very true. I don't have time to be filming and editing, and so I have all this content that I'm just waiting to just go out at a certain time. So really excited for people to receive it and get it and enjoy it. Like I'm really happy about it.
Dope. Yeah, man. Well, congratulations for sure on all your projects, you know, school and just being all things excellent.
trying to be. My life is so crazy. People are like, okay, wait, so you're doing music, you're on TV, you're in law school, like what is happening? You know, I was stripping for a hot second. In New Zealand. But I mean, like I just stumbled into that too. It was fun. I don't do it anymore. I mean, it was for a few months and made quick buck. And women pay money to see men take the clothes off. I mean, It's amazing. It was great fun. But yeah, my life's all over the place, but it's all converging to, and I'm sure it will make sense at some point. But I'm just trying to give positive energy to all of the things that are bubbling in my life. So I think, you know, keeping the balance is my challenge, and make sure everything gets proper attention is my challenge. But everything feels good. It all feels right. You know what I'm saying? I think as long as you feel like your path is heading in the direction and that everything that you're doing is contributing to furthering that direction, then that's it. You know what I mean? That's what you do. That's what you nurture. So that's what I'm doing. That's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Well, keep doing your thing. Tell the people where they can find you.
So on Instagram, it's queue.entertains, and you spell Q like how you do on like Spotify when you add to a queue. Queue. Q.entertains with an S. So that's me on Instagram. On Twitter, it's the same, but without the dot. So just Q Entertains. And that's where you can find me. I have the links to everything on there. My link tree will have the videos, the music, everything that comes out you'll be able to access through my Twitter or my Instagram. So Q.entertains on IG and just Q Entertains on Twitter.
Dope, man. Well, thank you for coming through. Spend time with a fellow Howard alum.
Yes,
always
absolutely.
a good time. Always a good time.
Yeah, I enjoyed
absolutely.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and we both in LA, so
yeah,
meet you in person.
Absolutely. No, I'm gonna trying to put something together. So I'll definitely send you the details. But yeah, man, thank you for coming through. Y'all already know it's another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'll catch y'all on the next one.